Welcome to my new shop. Hi, it's been a while, but I promise I've been busy. We moved into our new house about 3 weeks ago, and then we had to move back out. All good, just general house construction stuff. But we moved back in last week, and as soon as we did, I hit the ground running with organizing my shop space. Let me show you what I got done so far. Just for reference, here's how we moved everything into the shop initially. Just a pile of boxes that had general descriptions like clamps, pocket hole, dowels. It was super daunting to go through all this stuff and get organized, but the first order of business was to clear out this general area to make room for my new favorite toy, my saw stop. I didn't record any footage of assembling it, but I can tell you it wasn't too difficult. I was able to do everything by myself except get the main body of the saw tilted and lifted up out of the box to place it in this area. That was the only part I needed help with, and it got it assembled in about a workday. The instruction manual was perfection, and every company should take note of how clearly this was laid out for the end user. Full disclosure, SawStop sent me this saw, but this video is not sponsored by them. It is, however, sponsored by Woodcraft, where you can purchase the saw. And breaking news, SawStop just came out with a brand new 10-inch compact table saw that's priced pretty well. Compared to the equivalent DeWalt that I was using, it's around an extra $250 to ensure that your fingers will be safe. So if you don't have the space for a cabinet saw but still want the safety features of a SawStop, you can check out the Woodcraft link down below where you can pre-order it today. This saw is going to be a game changer. So awesome. Now let's talk about dust collection. You can see here that I have a very crude dust collection system hooked up to it right now. I just have this old Harbor Freight unit which has two ports. One port gets hooked up to the back of the saw and the other gets hooked up to the overarm dust collector. This setup is just temporary. I didn't mention any dust collection system in my moving video because I don't have that settled just yet. More on that in a little bit. Anyway, I've been posting updates on this whole saw build and setup on Instagram, and I already had a lot of questions about the overarm dust collector. People want to see how well it works, so let's see. But before I begin, let's keep in mind that I'm using the Harbor Freight dust collector, and I probably have a few extra feet of hose than is necessary, so it will reduce the suction. But I don't want to cut up the hose because I might need it for another situation. All right. Let's do it. Cut number one with the overarm dust collector. There is definitely still some dust here, but if you look closely, these are large pieces, and what I didn't have was any fine dust shooting out at my face. Cut number two, I disconnected the overarm dust collector and closed up this port for maximum suction in the other hose. I love how the arm just moves out of the way super easily. While cutting, I already noticed lots of fine dust is shooting at my face. So definitely a difference. You don't see much of a difference on the top of the saw, but the difference is on my shirt. Here's a side-by-side comparison of what both cuts look like at the same time. And if you look at my shirt, you can see how much dust is being thrown back at me, and a side-by-side comparison of what my shirt looks like right after the cuts were made. So it seems that the overarm dust collector is an improvement over having nothing at all. Now, will I find it annoying and will it get in the way? Only time will tell. This is just an initial reaction, and I'm definitely going to keep you guys updated on whether or not I like having it and using it. There is one thing I may already find annoying. The support arms for the overarm dust collector is cutting into this area under the table saw. So I was planning on building some sort of cabinet to hold some blades and jigs and other table saw accessories to fit right in here. But these angled supports are taking up a lot of real estate. So some more brain power is going to be involved with making this work for me now. We'll see. Something else I never had to deal with before on my old table saw, a cast iron top. While it's beautiful, I've only had this saw in my space for 3 days, and there's already tiny rust spots and one long one where I left the fence overnight. While this shop is in my basement and will be temperature regulated with a mini split system, there is a garage door. This will eventually be insulated and these giant gaps won't be here. There's still a lot more work to do on the exterior trim work of the house. I told you guys we're still living in a construction zone. Anyway, this top needs to be cleaned up and protected. Thank goodness I caught this when I did, so this cleanup won't be too bad at all. As per SawStop's amazing instruction manual, they suggest spraying the surface with a light coat of this week's sponsor, WD-40 multi-use product, and scrubbing with a fine abrasive pad like these Scotch-Brite pads. In the past, I've done the same method to penetrate rust buildup on my bandsaw. The one thing to be aware of is the direction that you're scrubbing. You only want to scrub front to back, forwards and backwards. Don't go side to side and don't go in circles. If you would go side to side, you would end up seeing lines from the abrasive pad. And we don't want that, so front to back it is. Also, be aware of the amount of pressure you're using. This table saw top is now my flattest surface in my shop, and I want to keep it that way. So I make sure to use even pressure on all areas. Also notice how I'm doing the whole top, even though there were only small areas of rust. Same idea, I want to make sure I'm scrubbing the same amount on all areas of the saw. The original WD-40 formula works like a charm because its lubricating properties loosen the bonds between the rust and the metal. And because it's a moisture deterrent, it offers temporary rust protection after its initial use. But SawStop recommends protecting the top with some paste wax, so that's what I'll do. Huge thank you to WD-40 brand for sponsoring this video. Check out the link below to find out more and get some for your shop. All right, moving on to this area back here. I thought this was where the router table was gonna go, and now I'm convinced the router table is staying here. I love the proximity to other flat surfaces like my table saw. So if I'm working on multiple pieces, I can pile them all up here, grab, cut, and then pile them back on the table saw. Same situation with the bandsaw. The router table and the table saw could all act as drop zones if I'm working on multiple pieces. Love this. Now this area over here is where I'm going to deviate from my initial plan. I thought I was going to put my miter saw stand on here, which would also hold my drill press and my benchtop sander, and I planned that this middle section over here was going to be my milling station with my planer and my jointer, but I just don't think this is going to work. This rolling tool cabinet is only here temporarily, and it's wider than the miter saw station that I would actually build, but not by much. And as you can see here, with just the planer in place, there is not a lot of room to walk around, especially if I want to put a slop sink right here. So plan B, planer is gonna stay in the middle over here, and the jointer is going to go along this wall. The jointer is about 76 inches long, so that's plenty of length on that wall over here to joint long boards, and I'll be able to have room on the end there for the drill press and the benchtop sander. Now, only problem, where do I put the miter saw now? I initially planned on it being on this wall because it's the longest wall of my shop. So when rough cutting long boards, no walls are going to get in the way, which is why this is a great wall for the jointer. I think the only other area that makes sense is right here. So I initially really wanted to have a dedicated miter saw station, but a rolling cart with lift up wings is gonna have to do. There's a ton of room on this wall, nothing's gonna get in the way, and I could roll it around to anywhere in the shop if I need to. So this is what it would look like if I'm actually doing a project. My main workbench is right here where I'll make all my rough markings, take the work pieces and cut them to rough length at the miter saw. Then bring them to the milling section where I can do the whole process, joint, plane, and pile everything up on the table saw as I'm working on all the pieces. Then I can rip that final edge at the table saw and get everything to its final width. And now I have all of my machines around me that I need, like the router table, the bandsaw, the benchtop sander, and the drill press. And now I'll have to take all the pieces back over to my workbench, where I'll do all the hand tool work and sanding and all the assembly over here. So I think that this could work for me, or I could go with plan C and get a jointer planer combo unit, but I'm just not sure how I feel about the combo units. If you have one, definitely leave a comment down below and let me know if it's something that I should look into. Now, this is why I didn't plan a dust collection system just yet. I want to pipe everything out and I want to make sure that I get it right the first time. If I would have done it before realizing that the jointer didn't work in the middle here, that would have been really annoying. So I'm assuming that this is gonna work for me, but you never really know until you use it. So I'll get a few projects in, play around with the layout, and then I'll get the dust collection figured out. As far as where the dust collection will go, I definitely do not like where the Harbor Freight one is. I was hoping that I was gonna be able to tuck it in this corner over here, but then the pipes would have to make a hard 90 around this bend to get to all those power tools, and that's not ideal. So I think a good place would be on this back wall over here so that I could run pipes along the soffit and then branch out to all the tools from back here. I don't know, that's the current thought. I'm sure I'm gonna have another one tomorrow. What else? Lumber. I don't like having this lumber cart over here. This area is going to be lower cabinets and then tool storage on the wall. So I think I'll put my main lumber storage on this wall over here, right on top of where the jointer is going to be, since this is a super long wall. And I'll probably store smaller cutoffs in this area over here, right by the table saw, since the table saw is usually where the smaller cutoffs are made. So it'll be nice to have easy access to just like dump them in a bin. I could also utilize my actual garage. That's where I'll probably store my sheet goods and my slabs. Where are my slabs? I definitely did not see them when I was unpacking. All right, they're not in the garage. Where are my slabs? You know, there was like those slabs that were always leaning against the garage door behind my router table in my other shop. Where are they? False alarm. Since we're still living in a construction zone, most of our stuff is still stored in one of those pod containers, and I totally forgot. I put them in the pod. So that just about sums up where I am with the whole move-in situation. I think the shop is ready for me to start using. Yeah, this isn't the final setup, but I know where everything is, and I think it's gonna work just fine as I start to build out my space. Gotta be honest though, I have no idea what my first project in here is going to be. I want to start making pretty stuff for the house, but I also think it'll be wise to build stuff for the shop first so that it'll be easier for me to build the pretty stuff. I couldn't save any of my jigs from my old table saw, so I should really work on making those jigs. I've been wanting to build an awesome assembly bench for years, so maybe that has to be first. But my kids also need beds, so I guess only time will tell. So thank you guys for coming along with me as I figure this space out. I'll tell you one thing, it's 90 degrees outside and I'm super comfortable just hanging out in jeans and my favorite Ariat Work Rebar Cotton Strong t-shirt. I really love the fit of this shirt, and just like all Ariat Work clothing, it's super durable, so I won't have to replace it every year like my other plain black tees. And it's got a pen slot in the pocket. Love that. But if you're going to be working outside in the heat all day like I used to do, Ariat Work has got you covered with their clothing that's thoughtfully designed to keep you comfortable no matter the season. This Rebar Polartec all-season t-shirt is amazing, and this shirt is made of super soft and lightweight mesh, so it keeps you cool all day long. This one that I have on is for women, but don't worry guys, Ariat makes this amazing shirt in men's sizes too. If you want to try it out for yourself, click the link down in the description to get 10% off your first order, and you can also find the link to my favorite Ariat Work gear. All right, that's it for this one. Huge thanks to WD-40, Ariat Work, and Woodcraft for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one, whatever that may be. Still not sure. So let's get to work. Only time will tell. This is just an initial. So I think I'll have my main rumberlack.